So this floor mechanic causes you to take damage every 5 enemy turns. The cool thing about this though is that if you stun the enemy, or otherwise control them, it doesn't count as them taking a turn. This means that if we make a team that is control heavy, we don't have to worry about this mechanic happening. Unfortunately, you can't stun or control a boss in Temporal Tower, so this means we'll need a good supporting cast, which is the reason why we have this team below. First, we're using Longmian just for the speed lead, and we want to make sure he has at least 80% accuracy and as much speed as possible. Then we're using Pritzker, who's probably the best stunner in the game, just to have an extra form of control. After that, I chose a DPS. In this case, I'm using Hall, because we're going to be going so fast anyways, we want someone who can tag on extra damage throughout the whole fight. Then we have more of a supporting cast, which would be Bernice, who offers a great shield, as well as some good utility. Now her healing should not be underestimated whatsoever, she can really sustain the team. Then we have Meredith, who offers good damage, a speed boost, and as well as additional heals. Overall, this is a very stun-heavy team, which makes it very reliable, but the damage isn't going to be exactly there. So some of the fights will seem drawn out, but it should all be safe. And we'll start the fight by getting set up with our buffs, as well as controlling the enemy. Now if you look at the top left, you can actually see that bar that marks how many turns the enemies have taken before the floor mechanic kicks in. It's still at 0. Meaning that our control aspect worked perfectly fine, and we can just work them down. So let's go ahead and speed this up, because it's going to take a while. Now when you get to the last enemy, make sure to save your skills. We want to make sure we have everything up for the next wave. Now this team is a bit harder because they have Catherine, meaning they're going to remove a buff every turn, and sometimes that can be our stun. Now we can sort of get past this by applying more debuffs. That way the stun stays on the opponent. But you're going to want to kill Catherine first, so that way you can really have a safe run. With that in mind, we'll go ahead and speed this along. Now that we're at the end of the fight, we're going to go ahead and save our cooldowns for the boss fight. On this stage there are a number of threats, but I think the most significant one is actually Red Twin. The last thing you want is to be defense broken and then have that Esper be targeted down by the rest of the enemies. After that, it's sort of whatever your preference is, because the enemies don't do too much damage and you have a lot of sustain. So let's go ahead and speed this along and see how things go. Now, overall, the run felt pretty safe, but if you have any questions about substitutions or anything like that, leave a comment below. Thank you for watching.